I think self-love has to do with being your own best friend, caring enough about yourself to improve. So if you really love yourself, you do whatever you have to do to improve yourself. The same way you would care for your mom or love your sister or love your boyfriend or girlfriend. You have to do the same for yourself. So if you can't look in the mirror and be truthful to that person in the mirror, then how much do you really love yourself? So you have to improve yourself every day, pour into yourself, get stronger, build more knowledge, just be the best person you could possibly be. I think that's the best way to love yourself, to want the best for you. Not for someone else, but for yourself first, and then that would expand out to other people. That's rough. That changes every day
Mm-hmm.
or every other hour.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt good this morning. Then something came up, and then it kind of went down. So if I just answered quickly, I would say disappointed. That's what I would say. I would feel disappointed. I feel like there's so much more I could have been doing, or I could have been at such a different level now if I loved myself early on and did my research to try to get the things that I learned it late. So, and then I made a lot of mistakes along the way, and I just feel like, damn, you could be doing so much right now. Yeah, they're killing it right now, and then where you're at right now. You shouldn't be struggling in this kind of way. But to other people, the people around me, they're very proud of me. So I try to take on them saying that you should be proud of having a wife and kids. I'm proud of that. I can't believe I made it here. But with my standards, I don't feel good. To be honest. Oh, every day. The old me listened to music nonstop, just music, movies, partying every day. Now I'm like the opposite. You can't find if you just hop into my car, there's a podcast about entrepreneurship. It might be about relationships, but it's mostly about entrepreneurship and financial literacy, business, life insurance, and just straight podcasts and YouTube videos and things like that. In the house, that's what I'm doing. It's just nonstop. I'm just learning. And what I tell people is it's been a struggle to shift the person that I was into who I am now. My example I like to give is
Unlearning.
I don't know what it's like to drive a ship like the Titanic, but I compare it to imagine trying to make a U-turn with the Titanic. How long that would take without tipping over. That's what I've been doing. So I'm almost doing this nonstop because I'm fighting that old person to not come out. And that person can come out depending on my mood and how I feel about myself. So I'm always battling with that old Kevin with this new one that I'm creating or becoming. So that's how I'm working with it. Support. I don't really seek support in this journey, but I think this question is gonna get me in trouble. Um, Not support, not support. There's a phrase from what's his name, Jason Wilson. I found him. I think during the pandemic. He said, "When a strong man says he's tired, don't challenge him, believe him." And I'm always tired, and I'm balancing help supporting the family and being emotionally supportive and different things like that. Things I'm not, I don't want to wash dishes, but I do it because she needs me to do that. She's cooking. I need to wash dishes, but I don't want to do those things. I feel like my time is better used doing something else. But I know she needs that, so I do that. I'll clean. I'll do whatever, and then when everybody's asleep, that's when I have to get back on that computer, start working and hunting and doing whatever I gotta do. But sometimes you start feeling like nobody cares that you're doing that. Like nobody cares that you're trying so hard, and it's almost like if something's going wrong, you gotta deal with it. You gotta hunt, protect, and provide. But when sometimes you might not be able to do that one day, you even feel. And Jason Wilson said the same thing too, and I felt it when he said it. He said when his wife used to come into the house, and she was laying on the couch, he would jump up off the couch. I'm always standing and moving until it's time to go to sleep. I'm always doing something, and it's like, is it that because I'm trying to be active and not look like I'm lazy, or my mom used to call me lazy all the time, and I was that kid. So I guess me being up and moving and being active is my fight against the old Kevin still. Because I know that Kevin wants to chill and watch Ozark and Game of Thrones and Mr. Robot and like just watch that all day. But I can't. So I just feel like I don't have time to just be myself and just hang out and just I don't feel like I have the time to do that. So I think I need support. I need a nap.
That's real.
Yeah. I want to chill sometimes.
You just want to chill.
Yeah. Like to the point where I like to drink, but I don't even drink in the house because I'm just too busy. I don't have time. I'll make a drink and I'll forget where it is. And I gotta go search for it because kids come home. So I don't know who's gonna step out of it. It'll get lost and my wife will find it and maybe just throw it out. But I even try to just chill for a second and have a drink on my own, and I just can't even do that because my mind is on everything. I think I'm trying to catch up with where I think I was supposed to be. It's like a race, and I'm just like, I gotta get here quick. Time is running out. Like, I don't know how much time my kids have left with me. So it's like, I'm just trying to build up wisdom so I can pass it to them. And like, everything I'm trying to take in, I'm trying to just give to them so that they'll have it for like. And my sister Emma. It comes from both. I dealt with so much death. Right? So it's like, and I'm very dark, especially after my sister passed, and then my mom passed. It's like I don't believe in like happy endings. So I turned very like kind of like rough about things. Like my daughter could stub her toe when she's crying. I can't cry for her when she'll do that, and I swear to you, my first reaction is, okay, next time you have to pay attention to what you're doing. She's crying in front of me, crying. I'm not hugging her. I'm like, but baby, you saw that this chair was here. Why did you get up and turn like this? I'm already like instructing her and trying to correct her and trying to do, I think the things that my mom used to do. But she's trying to protect me. She's trying to make sure I don't do these things later. She's trying to correct the situation so it doesn't happen. So I'll maybe catch myself if I see my son looking at me, and I'll give her a hug and tell like, you're good. But it's just like in my head it's like I'm quickly trying to correct the situation. So I'm trying to figure out how to get her to be in the right state so that she doesn't, when I'm not around, she can handle herself. Now that when I'm saying that right now, it's like this is how my mother was. I still do a lot to like talk to her and like just be like a supportive dad. Like she's always thanking me for having a conversation with her. She surprises me every time she does that. She's like, thank you for having a conversation with me. She'll do that, but I always preference everything. Like at the end, I'm like saying, baby, you're gonna be the strongest woman ever after I'm done with you.
Mm.
All these things that I'm telling you about, you're gonna get stronger and stronger and stronger. It's like a superhero or something like that. And one day you're not gonna need me. I can just step back, and you're gonna know how to handle everybody around you. You're gonna kill it in this world. You're gonna be so strong. So when I'm telling you these things, is I'm here to help you. That's all I'm here to do. Teach you how to handle everything. So when I'm telling you these things, these are tools I'm handing you. So I think when I give her that kind of explanation, she takes it. She's crying because she feels bad because she feels like she's disappointing me. And I'll just tell her like, no, you can do. It's just that I am disappointed, but it's not like I don't love you. I still love you, but you got to do what you got to do. But I think a lot of my experience made me start treating it this way, and I'm like worried about me not being here tomorrow. So that's what that is.
Mm.
But the thing is, a lot of men don't know how to do that with their partners. I don't know if it's because the partner is not allowing it to happen or circumstances, but I never thought I'd be talking so much about my mom and my sister. But like when I lost my mom, okay, so let me just do this then. I lost my sister in 2007, right? She died in a car accident just before, maybe a week before her 23rd birthday, when she going to her senior year of Stony Brook, right? So she passed, and I went into like this horrible depression. I'm talking about that, to where I'm literally parking my car blocks up so that no one knows I'm home. And I would just sit home and be in my room. My roommate would be in the next room. It's weird calling him my roommate because we grew up together. He's a brother to me. But he's labels, he's my roommate at that time. And I would just cry in my room and literally just eat Rice Krispies. Like for 2 days straight. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and just watch TV, Breaking Bad, or something like that. I just watch TV. Literally, not even calling out for work. No call, no show. Just not even going. Hiding. I'm in my room. I'm afraid to go into the kitchen. Right? So that's how bad. So I'm just giving you an idea of what that depression was. Fast forward 10 years later, my mom passes. And then now I'm afraid of that darkness. But now I can't grieve her in the same way because now I have a wife and 2 kids. I can't go home with her. I don't have somewhere to go cry. So it's like I gotta be strong for them, and it's like I'm just like dying inside. I just can't cry, or I can't be away with my daughters and I notice every little thing. Like she's gonna start crying. I don't want her to feel sad or whatever about me. It's like I have to be strong. I hate that shit. I hate that. I just didn't feel like where I was safe in my apartment, I'm not safe at home. I can't just be, I can't grieve for my mom. I gotta do it elsewhere when I'm out and about or whatever, when I'm drinking or whatever. So I can just be at a bar like drinking and crying. Or like in the car before going inside the house. So maybe I just didn't feel safe, like going inside and just being like being vulnerable. So it's like I never really like talked about it like that before. I never thought about it. And there's a person, there's someone that I'm becoming right now. You know, it's just like I'm battling to keep this person that I created or became or becoming. Right? I'm proud of where I got to because I think so much differently now. Like if I could go back and talk to 30-year-old Kevin, like I don't even think he'd recognize me. I don't even see how he could recognize me. But he'd be I know I'd be the dude that he would listen to for sure. I think he'd be really proud and like just like listen to me. Like I could be a mentor to him. I don't think anybody can say that really. Like if you go back 10 years or 11 years or whatever, and you go back and talk to your younger self, would he listen to you?
Mm.
Would he look at you and be like, "Damn, this is all you did? This is where you're at"? I don't think he would say that. He'd be surprised. And like the things, like the words that I'm saying to him, the way I'm coming at him and like challenging him, he'd be really happy, right? And I think that that strength comes from my mom and just my purpose and like just taking care of her family. My mom took care of me and my sister on her own, so I watched her like suffer. But I didn't understand the suffering until I had a family.
Mm.
So when I got a family and I saw how rough it is and everything, I started to forgive her for being so rough and like beating at her and stuff like that. She's like stressed out. You're by yourself. You're a nurse. You're trying to find everybody to babysit. That's my whole neighborhood babysat me and my sister. Their whole neighborhood, the whole block was me and my sister growing up. It helped me growing up in that neighborhood because anybody who I should be afraid of, I was raised in their house to begin with. So that's what. So when people see me giving pounds to like the biggest gangsters and cribs or whatever, like we used to watch wrestling together in his living room when we were 11 or 10. So that kind of thing kind of helped, but I got tough from having to like find strength in other people. My father wasn't like there. Not like he didn't want to be there for me. He just wasn't there. He wants to be there for me, but him and my mom didn't work out. So he's where he's at, and I had to. Here's an example. I used to. A lot of my friends know this. Every time I stepped out of my house, I always walk behind men all the time. Like follow behind them and try to see how they were walking. I didn't know how. I felt like I didn't even know how to walk as a man as when I was a kid. I was trying to be a man so bad, and I was trying to build myself up into something. I didn't know what I was looking. I was searching for something since I was a kid, right? So every day I had a different walk. I walked differently every single day. Not every day, like it'll be a weekly thing. One week I have a different kind of step. I have it's everything. I will see a guy I'm like, oh, I like how he's walking, and I'm watching him. Oh, that looks cool the way he did that. The way he pulled the door open or something like that. I was just searching. I've been searching for something my whole life. So I think I've been trying to build up my own strength from everyone else around me, friends and everything. So what I feel like expressing myself in terms of expressing myself, I don't have a problem expressing myself. But I think the challenge is when I go internal and I suffer inside on my own. And I suffer inside to protect the people around me. If things are going bad in the household or some kind of paperwork, something going on with the house or this and that, I'm not the, oh baby, guess what happened? I'm not calling you because like I don't think you can handle the stress the way I can handle it. So I'm fighting every day to do it and trying to like protect you. I don't know if that's not a good thing. I don't think that's a good thing, right? Because we're supposed to be a team. But
Yeah.
things come up, I'm like, I'll handle it. Let her deal with this. I'll deal with this, and I'm just like stressed. And you're yelling at the kids. And you get into argument. It's just all these other things that are happening. But I have no problem expressing myself with certain things. But there's certain things I just take on inside. And I don't tell anybody. My friends don't know. And it's just sometimes they have to pull it out of me. Like they're like, "Where's Kevin at?" And they're just trying to find me. And like, "Where is he?" And then I might express it. Like if we're just on a one-on-one having a drink, then open up. And I start crying. Either I'm more open now, or it's just like just no more room, and it just has to come out. But I think I'm more comfortable with myself as a man now, and I think because
Yeah.
So many like different categories when it comes to that.
Uh-huh.
I think relate to kind of weird, but I say Kevin Hart maybe because we're the same height and we're the same sign,
Mm.
jokingly, but we are. But I don't care so much for his movies and his interviews.
Oh wow.
It's really if I'll do anything just to watch him in an interview or that documentary that he had on Netflix. And it was documenting him and his friends and his circle as
Mm.
he's navigating this business world and entertainment.
Yeah, yeah, I know what
That
you're
reminds
talking
me of
about.
me and my friends and like just how he is. So him as a person
Yeah,
and his humor,
yeah.
his natural humor, where he's not trying to be too funny.
When he's not being a comedian and he's just being
He's being
like
himself, but he's
himself.
naturally funny.
Yes, he is.
And the way he teases his friends and stuff like that, that is me all the way. So, but his morals and the things that he talks about when he gets in an interview, he's not necessarily trying to be funny all the time. He likes to teach people depending on who he's in front of, but he's very like he's very deep. That dude is deep. He has a lot of morals, a lot of, and he's honest. So I relate to him the most in that way. But there's other people like Kobe Bryant. I love that guy. Like he's like as far as an entertainer, yo, he's the second entertainer I cried about that passed. The first one was Tupac. I was 16 when Tupac died. I don't know why I cried for him. I don't know why. But I was really into him, but I cried for him. And it was crazy when Kobe Bryant passed. My friend called me as if this was like a family member of mine. He said, yo, did you hear? I'm shooting at a brunch at 333 now. I remember that day. He called me. I'm like, yo, but we watching the TV. Nothing's happening on the TV. And then he was like, no, seriously, yo, he died like in a helicopter crash. I'm like, you're lying. And I looked at the TV and then it popped up. And I stepped to the side by the bathroom and I kind of teared. And I came back out. And it changed the mood for everyone. Because you know what it was with him? I was a fan of him as a basketball player at a point. I didn't care for his personality that much. But then when he was doing all these interviews later on in his career and the way he talked about his work ethic and how he was as a father, like the things that you didn't get with Michael Jordan, you didn't get to see the side of Jordan. But I don't even think Michael Jordan had the same character as Kobe. I don't think so. And I found this side of Kobe when I was trying to become who I was becoming. This is when I was like all over YouTube and watching all the things I was watching. And I'm watching him like yo, this dude is like the man, I said yo, he's everything, right? And Muhammad Ali, like people that really like him just being. I don't relate to him. He reminds me of my father. My father's actually a Muslim as well, right? Like serious.
Oh
Like,
wow.
very serious. So, but the way he just didn't, he was himself unapologetically. I'm attracted to people that are related to me and people that are my opposites. So he's honest and he carried himself in a certain way. I can just imagine like having someone like him as a kid. If I could have grown up watching him on TV, that would give me all the confidence in my life. Malcolm X, like that's yeah, like you don't have men like that anymore that are here for you as kids. I love like just watching like the movie Malcolm X was strong, but then when I watch like documentaries about him, the Nation of Islam, what they did to build him up, I have a lot of respect for that kind of thing. Well, just people that are hyper competitive people, like Kevin Garnett, Allen Iverson. Like these people are like relentless. I like relentless people. Like they're just like winners. I'm very competitive. Like,
And what makes you the most happy?
so success is tied to freedom, right? To me, if you're successful, so many different aspects to it, in my opinion. But to be able to do whatever you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it. So money has a lot to do with it, but there's influence involved in it. There's a lot of influence involved, right? So money, it starts with money. But when I say be able to do whatever you want to do, is if I wanted to buy that building, I want to be able to do that. And put whatever I want in that building. It could be a foundation, it could be a nonprofit or something like that. If my child is sick and has some kind of terminal illness, and I don't want to, I'm not worried about insurance. I can pay for the best doctor or what have you. But your money can't beat health or just death. But the thing is, I can pay for the best care that I want to. I don't have to worry about if it's a part of my insurance or something like that. I don't want that. That's the kind of freedom I want to be able to just say. Like if the guy say I want to go away, I'm like, all right, cool. I'll just drop the money now and just do it. If we're having this interview, oh, we could just have it at one of my centers, my business development centers. We use my office and do it. I mean, hang out there and do that kind of freedom. And having a family that cares, really cares about you, right? And you can do whatever you need to do for them, and they believe in you. When you're gone, like you left a legacy, like you built something where the family is not just your family. I'm talking about their kids and then their kids. You set up a structure that is set, and you train them well. And if there's some kind of way where I could look down after I'm gone and I could watch them like thriving, even if they have been fighting and be fighting, who knows? But I want to be able to see that the path that I laid out, they're good. They didn't have to start over when I passed. They just took what I left, and they did way better than what I did. They should be laughing at the stuff that I did. Like they're like, oh, that was slow. Like you were buying properties and stuff like that, and then they're making millions off of Bitcoin and doing whatever, and then they're passing it on to their kids. I want my voice to like sit with them. This is kind of weird, but I want it to be where like they're praising me as like the one who started it all, like a picture of me in their house. Like, Grandpa, Kevin, he started all of this. This is like, to be honest, I want it to be like that. To where they're like there's just stories being told, like, yeah, like he did this. You know how people talk about the founding fathers of America? I want my family to be talking like that about it. And then on top of that, my last name is like a statement. Like if my daughter walks into a building and she says her last name, they're like, oh wait, are you Kevin? Kevin Jacques? Daughter? And then she's like, yeah. And it's like, it might be hard for them in different ways, like rich problems, like she wants to find her own way. But I want it to be where like doors are open just because she said her last name. I like that.
Dope.
That's success.
I like that answer. And this one's tougher. What's happiness to you? What makes you happy?
I'm happy with my life right now, but I don't know when's the last time I was like really happy. So maybe it depends on what you call happy. Everybody's definition of happy will be different, but I haven't felt happy in a while. I'm like in moments when I stop for a second and I look around at my family and like, oh man, this is beautiful. Thank you, God. So like, because there's people that would die for my life. Like my problems is someone else's misfortune. So like, they would take this in a heartbeat what I have. So I'm happy for that. I'm grateful. But I don't know. Like I'm just like I'm always in so much pain all the time. A lot of things really stems from my sister and my mom. I don't know. I think I was kind of forced into into manhood somehow. In a way.
I
But
wonder how many other people feel that
like
way.
kind of forced into it. But like when I say forced into it,
Yeah.
I didn't grow up, but you know how some people have all the siblings and they got to take care of their siblings. My father grew up that way. He's like the second oldest out of nine. Me, I just had my sister, what have you, and then my mom used to always. I don't know if this is gonna relate to your happiness question, but this could give you a different answer to my sadness or to my pain. So when she passed, I'll tell you there's two situations that happened in my life. I would say one where I learned what my true character was, and then where I feel like I became a man. Right? So the first one when my sister passed, like this was like rough. Like when my sister passed, it was like an ordeal, a 24-hour ordeal. She was in the hospital for like 24 hours. She died in a car accident in 2007. And what's so crazy is that she's 22, and then it's just like, who dies in a car accident? You're in the back seat of a car, and it flips over, and then I'm hearing that she went out the window, and she's with my friend. I was fun. These people that are close to me, so she's around people that I trust with her. So I have nothing towards any of it. So, but they're telling me like what happened and everything. They call me at work, rush to the hospital. I had to rush, pick up my mom, go to the hospital. People are running to me, telling me what's going on. There's so many people at the hospital, but I'm like calm. People are crying. My friend's dad that was there, he's like a dad to me. He's one of the, family friends, like their fathers. We were raised in the neighborhood. He's holding me crying. I've never seen like a man crying that way on my shoulder. And he's just crying, and then fast forward to the situation I'm trying to bring up now is that now they finally say that she was losing so much blood. If you could see like all the blood on the bed that she's losing, because she had like a lacerated liver. Because her ribs were broke. She broke like 19 ribs. I didn't know you could have 19 ribs. I didn't even know that. Sorry to say that on camera, but to show how much I don't know. But all these blood transfusions. I'm going into the room and then I'm just trying to talk to a doctor, and they need my mom to sign for every blood transfusion. I'm like, is there something else we can do out of the side of this? They were like, no, we could just use one signature and we'll do that at that time. I'm like, all right, fine. And then next thing you know, I finally told my mom, you gotta go home, bro. Like, this is in Long Island, and we live in Brooklyn. I said, mommy, just go home. Like, there's some people leaving. Go get a ride, go shower, go do whatever you want to do. Now, right when she goes home, that's when everything is happening. Doctor comes and says, hey, listen, like, there's a surgery that we want to do, but she's not in stable condition. We could do it, but she might die if we do the surgery. So I'm like, shit. So someone told me that. So then now I'm thinking, I'm walking to the back now to go. I have other questions I need to ask. Right? I'm walking to the back, and I see the doctor's back is towards me, and he's talking to someone else, and they're laughing. So now it's just like they're laughing. I don't know what they're laughing about. Then I woke up to them, and then the one that was looking at me, he walked away. That's how I know they were talking about my sister. So now at this point, I'm just like, I'm not gonna lose it because it's like I have no fucking time to do this. I have a decision to make. So I said, yo, listen. He's looking at me like like I'm gonna address him for the situation that whatever he was laughing at. I'm like, I have no time for that. So listen, tell me. If we do this surgery, tell me the upside and the downside. If we don't do this, what's gonna happen? He's like, she's just gonna lay here and die in 3 days. So if we do it now, they're like, it might work out, but she's gonna lose so much blood, she might just die on the operating table. So I'm like, all right. I call my mother and I tell her what's going on. She was like, this is where it leads to what I'm trying to say, where I had to learn what my character was, who I was as a man. At this point, I'm 27. I just turned 27. So I spoke to her. And anyone who knows Haitian parents, like they usually take the charge in certain things. They don't like kind of drop things on the kids like that. But she was like, I don't know. She said, call your aunt. I'm like, call my aunt. Usually, you're the one who has the answer. Usually, you're the nurse. You know everything. She was like, call your aunt. I said, fine. I call my aunt. She's a nurse too. I told her the situation. She was like, I don't know. Call Anna, who's my mom. I'm like, I called my mom back. I said, Mommy, and she said, I gotta call you. And then she stopped for a second and she said, what do you think? And it was like, that's the moment where I was like, it was like a quick shot. I'm saying it to you slowly. I answered quick, but inside, this was the slowest moment in my life. She said, what do you think? And I leaned back in my mind and I bounced back up and I said, all right, so listen, if we don't do the surgery and she dies, we will regret this for the rest of our lives. We have to do the surgery. We gotta do it. At least when we do it, we know that we tried, right? We did it. And she said, all right, tell them. So she put my sister's life in my hands. And I told them, I said, all right, cool. So she ends up dying on the surgery table. But when she dies, I'm in the family room. All my friends are there. I have a lot of support. And my sister has tons of friends. So it's like everybody's around. We're not alone. You know, I didn't have a lonely life, right? So everybody's in the family room. And then the doctor comes and is asking diligently for my mom. Normally they would just ask for my mom and ask for me and I would make a decision. But they were going really hard on asking for my mother. So I'm sitting on the edge of the couch. All my friends are sitting on the couch. And I got up and I said, just go outside. And I said, why do you need her so bad? And then he's like, no, I just need to speak to her. And I'm like, she's not here. And she was like, okay, well, I'll just call her. And he started walking and I grabbed him and I pulled him. I said, yo, don't fucking call her. I said, you're not going to call her and tell her that her daughter's dead. You're not going to call her while she's in her house. Don't call her and tell her. I knew that she was dead. By the way, he was asking that question. So you don't fucking call her and tell her. Let her come here and you'll let her know when she gets here. And then he backed off. And at that point, I went in the corner and I cried. Cried. No one saw me cry. No one knew. I wiped my tears, like just the way I'm doing right now, and I walked back into the family room and I just chilled like nothing happened. And I know my sister's dead. I know she's gone. And I'm just sitting there. I didn't tell anybody. If my mother shows up, she's worked in the hospital for like maybe 30 years. No, more than that. No longer than I was born. But she walked in to the ICU and saw the bed wasn't there. And then she was like, oh my God, she's gone. I didn't get to tell her. She's like, oh my God, she's gone. And she came out and the doctors were trying to tell her. The doctors didn't get a chance to tell her. She was just like, did I do the wrong decision? And she started crying. She doesn't cry like that. And I'm telling her, I'm like, no, I'm trying to hold her. And my father's losing his mind, screaming, like banging his head against the wall or whatever. I'm like trying to balance between my mother and my father. And that's when I was alone for the first time. My sister wasn't there. Usually she's like the buffer. So I was by myself at that point. So at that point, that's when I realized my character at that point, when I was like literally handling all these things within that 4-hour time span, making that decision, helping my mom, helping my father, everything. I was just like going. So I knew enough to shed my tears when I had to, because I must have understood that there's something coming down and everybody's gonna need me, and then I handled it. Right. So that's when that happened, and then now I know off camera we had like a text conversation. We're talking about the Michael Beasley interview. So he talks about his mom dying of cancer. And exactly how he described it is how my mom passed of cancer. 10 years later after after my sister passed. So 10 years later, she goes to the hospice and everything, and then they said she has until December. But I guess when you give up as a patient, I don't know what it's like to have cancer. But when they told her that experimental drug, she didn't qualify to have it because she had so much radiation. She couldn't take that drug or whatever it was. I get a call like 3 days later from my aunt, and she's like, yo, it's getting rough for her now. And she's doing hospice in her room. So by the time she was fine on Sunday, then I go back to her on Friday, and this woman can't even speak to me. And then she's like, just like dying. And I'm just like, dude, this is I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Watching this woman that's supposed to be like a hero to me. She's so strong. She's everything. And she's just like dying. She's staring at me. And I'm trying to what my wife is telling me, you need to talk to her, talk to her. My aunts are telling me, like, she talk to her, they'll leave me in the room and I'm talking to her. I don't know if she's hearing me, but she's looking at me, trying to communicate, she can't talk. And she's just literally just dying throughout the whole night. I'm watching the cancer like just fucking eradicate the thing. And then it's just like, it's just happening. Yo, I wouldn't wish this on anybody to watch someone die that way. I thought it was gonna be an honorable thing to sit next to your mom and just like to be there. That is the worst thing to ever have to experience. And I just missed her last breath by like 5 minutes because my mom was making breakfast the next morning. And I love her eggs. Like it's so spicy. It's like the dopest eggs ever, right? So she's like, come eat. I'm like, all right. I go into the living room, I sit down and eat. And then I'm eating, I'm watching TV, then I hear my aunt come back out the room and says, Kevin, come in, you should come in the room, like that, right? So it sounded like the whole same situation like with my sister again. She's like, you should come in the room. And I looked to the corner of my eye, and then I heard her, like, I can't see her, I hear her saying it, I'm like, all right, I'm coming. And I just sat there. Like, that was the last time I felt I had like this level of calm and peace. I just ate the sandwich like really slow. I knew she died. I knew she was gone. I just ate my sandwich. And I got up and I just went in the room. I heard her praying and everything. And then right there, it's just like when I realized, and I heard a friend of mine told me that you don't become a man until you lose your mom. You don't truly become a man until you lose your mom. That's what he said to me. And
interesting take.
yeah, so that's when that happened. It was like, okay, now it's. I never really went to my mom for anything really while I was on my own because I already moved out of that house like years before. But it's just that's when I realized, okay, you're a man now.
Yeah.
You're on your own. Even if you didn't need her for something, at least you could have went to her or something like that. We got really close to it, you know? And I probably like going too far into all of this, but when my sister passed, I abandoned my mom. And all that depression, I wasn't there for her. You know, like a good friend of mine, Joe, is actually his bull ride that my sister was at. And he was in the car behind my sister when the accident happened. So a lot of times when people die, family members and friends always say, oh yeah, we'll be here for you if you need me, blah, blah, blah. Well, that is bullshit. But he's the only one that actually was there with my mom, helping her with stuff. My mom would like pay him, give him money, and come, he used to say, yeah, help me with my report. And she was going to school for, just going to be a priest, so I'm not sure what we study for that. So, but,
A priest?
she's looking at me, but I think.
Like a pastor?
Yeah.
Theology?
Yes. It's theology, but I think there's something like above theology or something like that, but that's what she was practicing.
Okay.
So he's helping her do reports and things like that. She's calling my friends. Where's Kevin? Where's Kevin? My friends are calling me. Your mom is looking for you. And I was just like, I just couldn't face her. I couldn't be in that house with just me and her, and not all three of us. So it's just like that's the kind of kid I was. I felt like a shitty son. But then when I'm with her at chemo, she battled cancer for 3 years. I'm with her at chemo. We're talking. We had built this whole relationship.
That's beautiful.
Whole relationship, and I wrote a speech at her funeral. It was called, I was going to call it "Fuck Cancer," and I changed it to "Thank You Cancer."
Okay.
Because of cancer, I built this relationship with her. So I changed what it was, but I developed that whole relationship with her. And then when she won, I just felt like I finally became a man at that point. But going through all those things now, and imagine everything I just told you now. Now I can't breathe, backtracking. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do anything. I'm trying to be a man, handling this and that. They're coming to take the body out. I gotta be prepared. I'm already moving, calling a funeral home. I already had everything kind of like set up, ready to move, and like pull the trigger. And my wife like took care of a lot of things. Like she was just like, she really killed it in terms of like helping and taking care of everything. You know? But it was just rough, and that's where I felt like I became a man. But the thing is, becoming a man is lonely. I think that's what I'm trying to find out. So becoming a man is not always a great feeling because you're on your own and there's no one there to comfort you. Yeah, I'm married, but the thing is, not everybody's trained to understand how to comfort or nurture a man or have you. Like you don't. Sometimes when some people don't know how to deal with your silence, they think you're okay. When you see those memes when they say, "Oh, check on your strong friends," that I was always thinking about that when I would see that. I'm like, yeah, because everybody comes to you when they're in pain and whatever, and you're supposed to help them or whatever. And when you're on your own, I don't have anyone I feel like I can help me. So I dealt with it by myself. I beat myself up a lot, not physically, but mentally, like verbally, like rough. But that's a long answer.
So, something you mentioned off camera about your relationship with your mom.
Okay.
Um, you said that you weren't going to school because she was a nurse. So, nurses work crazy hours. They work very hard.
Cutting school all the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you didn't feel comfortable talking to her about your absence and about getting kicked out and the reasoning behind why you weren't going to school in the first place. And your relationship with her, in a way, it started as she was starting to depart from this realm.
Yes. It has. Um, Being very secretive and not being like fully honest with things I could be honest about. Not lying, but it's just keeping things to myself all the time. Always keeping things to myself because I can deal with it. I can handle things on my own, and I'm used to just kind of like moving like a lone wolf in a way, right? And just like doing my own thing, just like if I feel like doing one thing, I'll just do it. And it's just like not really communicative. It's kind of hard to answer that because that's something I didn't really stop to look at so much, but it had to because different. Oh, especially if I'm going to talk about my current marriage, there's things that how my wife would react to my daughter, right? I would respond like in an unhealthy way. Like I wouldn't like come and just talk to her. Um, just check. Um, I wouldn't like. I would. I would react in a way like I need. I'm defending my daughter, but I have this kind of tick that I have. I keep calling my daughter my sister all the time. So what I made peace with is that I feel like because she's so much like my sister. It's like it's almost like I'm getting another chance again with her. So I always call her Cynthia all the time by mistake, but that's her middle name. I should just accept it and just say, oh, that's fine. But or like I'll say if I'm gonna talk about my sister, I might say my daughter by mistake. Or in reverse, I might say my sister and I'm talking about my daughter.
Wow.
So I'm defending her every time with my wife. But the thing is, my wife is doing things that my mom used to do. Not really like hear me out for a second, like understand, come in and just hear me out for what's happening. Just getting mad at me and not telling me like what's going on, or like kind of like give me like a little party piece of wisdom about the situation. Like tell me why you did that or why I should have gotten this beat. She doesn't beat my daughter, but it's just like I can see in my daughter's face that she's like losing it, right? She's just lost. I don't know, like she looks paralyzed, and I always felt that way with my mom. I don't know how to turn left or right. If I turn left, I should have turned right. I'm in trouble. Everything I did was wrong. Everything was wrong. So I distanced myself from my mom, and I would tell my wife, I said, "Yo, I don't think you know what this shit feels like, but you don't want her to be with you the way I was with my mom, and the way I distanced myself from my mom for many years. I can't see that happening, and I think that's why I react that way. She's just doing things that remind me of my mom, and it's like I have these triggered reactions. I get triggered by it, and it just affects me. I think the most in my marriage now is when I feel it. I didn't think about it in the other relationships, but because the marriages now, I can see where she's very similar to my mom.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so
They say we pick our parents.
yeah, I'm happy I married my mom, right? But
Yeah.
the thing is, like the things that I wish she could have done different with me, with certain things, I see her doing it. So when I see her doing it, I forgive my mom for it because I can see where the stress is as an adult watching my wife. I couldn't see it as a kid looking up at my mom. I don't know why you're beating me. I don't know why you're mad. It's so mad and angry. But I can see it now. But it's like I'm trying to protect her, but I'm reacting in a way that doesn't work. It's like I'm doing it in front of the kids. It's horrible. It's not. I'm not doing it in a good way at all. I don't do it now. Technically, so not really right now, but I'm holding it in when it happens.
Thank you for being so open and honest. I'm going to shift gears,
Yeah.
and we're going to make it a little bit lighter now.
Okay.
So here are the fun questions.
Okay.
Tell me about your personal style. Like, if you have any style icons, or just anything that you feel like would describe your outer expression to the world.
I don't know. I used to like Puffy, like Diddy. Depends on what you say in terms of age. But I used to like his style. I didn't like Jay-Z's style early on. Jay-Z got his style kind of like cleaned up a little bit more.
Yeah,
a little bit.
definitely.
But I think Diddy was one. I can't think of who else right now. But maybe him overall. Just like he was just very confident and just. I think my style. My style is very like low. The style that I like a very low key flex kind of style.
Okay.
I like to be easy. I don't. When I was younger, I used to wear like name brands, everything all over, all that kind of stuff. Like I used to match all the time. My mother used to have to tell me. She said, you need to buy normal clothes to just wear every day, just to go to the store. You don't have to have blue sneakers with the blue jeans, and then you just do every time you go to the store. You don't need to do that all the time. You need regular clothes. You know that? And I was like, but what if
He's do I?
What if someone sees me when I go outside? When I go outside, I'm on stage when I go outside. I don't know who I'm gonna run into. You're crazy, lady. So, but as I got older, you start not caring anymore. So I really don't care. So my girlfriends used to end up styling me all the time. They were like, I don't like your style. I'm like, all right, tell me what you think. If you like it, I'll wear it. So my wife is like that now. It's like, you could pick what you want, what you think is cool. So I don't really have a personal style right now, but I know what I like. I like looking good. Like if I go to take pictures at an event, if you say it's a baby shower and then I know that it's gonna be a big baby shower or whatever, I'll ask if it's a boy or a girl or whatever. So I wear pink, or
That's cute.
But I don't dress like a traditional like photographer that goes out just wearing black jeans or whatever. Unless it's all black affair, but I'll overdress if I have to. So I just like to stand. I like to stand out, but not like overly. Not to peacock, not like that.
Yeah.
But I like to when I walk in, you look and be like, oh, I like that reaction. And cologne.
That makes sense.
I like that. I don't want to look like I was like overdoing it, but I want it. I want a reaction.
Hmm.
So that's what I can answer that.
Okay.